Welcome to Money Making Conversation. I am your host, Rashawn McDonald. Each Money Making Conversation talk show is about entrepreneurship and entertainment. I do provide the consumer and business owner access to celebrities, CEOs, entrepreneurs, and industry decision makers. I like to tell everybody the Money Making Conversation interviews provide relatable information to the listener about career and financial planning, entrepreneurship, motivation, leadership, overcoming the odds, and how to live a balanced life. My next guest is a very, very popular film and television actress. You've seen her in movies like Thinking Like a Man 2, The Intruder, and Shazam. Up next, she'll star in Sony's Monster Hunter, which will be released hopefully this year. I know we're in the pandemic year, so everything's kind of odd, but this movie, Monster Hunter, everybody's waiting to see that movie that she's starring in. She was recently seen on OWN's new series, Girlfriends Check In. I checked it out myself. She wrote a game-changing relationship book with her husband entitled The Wait, a powerful practice for finding the love of your life and the life you love, which I love that title. She's a philanthropist, started the Greater Good Foundation with her sister, and an entrepreneur with Good Girl Wraps by Meagan Good. They're a multifunctional hair accessory that can be worn when you are out and about, workout, or bedtime. Look, I am going to buy that for my daughter. Please welcome to Money Making Conversations, Meagan Good. It's so funny, Meagan. I saw the wraps, right? And so, because my daughter was upstairs. I said, her name's Christiana. I said, Christiana, get down here. I got to show you something. She said, well, Dad, she's 22. Senior in college. I said, I think I finally found something, because she comes down here with these things on her hair, Meagan. I just be staring at them going, this is not, we do have money, baby. We do have a little money. You can do better than that. And so I showed her this, and she said, Dad, she picked out like 3 different options that we're going to buy. Just tell us about the whole concept. I'm just letting you know, as a man, I saw it. Our dad, I saw it. I fell in love with my daughter. Picked out 3 of them, and I think they're just beautiful. You can, when she go to the store, she can wear them. When she goes to the gym, she can work out in them. She can, thank God, she can go to sleep and wake up, and I'm not as terrified when she comes into the kitchen. I don't know what she got on her head, Meagan, but at least when she comes to the kitchen now with your hair wrap, I'll be excited and thankful that she's my daughter.
Well, amen.
Absolutely. I've got to tell you the truth now. I've been struggling with the head wraps that I don't know. We, like I said, we had a little success making in our life, but the Good Girl wraps that you have produced are my favorites now. Okay.
Oh, yay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was like super excited to create them because, so one of my stylists, I have 2, Maisha Oliver and Dr. Carey, and we created the goddess locks, the dreadlocks look together. And so what happened was I was wearing the style so much, and I was going to the gym and trying to work out. And every time I did, my hair was flipping my face, and then I'd be trying to wash my face, and I couldn't sleep comfortably. And it was just like a whole thing. And so we developed this wrap, and it literally was like a lifesaver. And then the more I would wear it in workout videos, people would ask, like, well, where did you get that? And what is that? And I was like, you know what? I just need to create a line and make them available, and also just make it so people can choose like different styles and what better fits, like, however they want it to be. So that's really how it came about. And it did really, really well. The first day we sold out on the first run collection. And
congratulations.
Now we're on the second collection. Thank you. And so we're getting ready to start the third collection now. And the cool thing is, like, I'm able to see people's input, like, oh, I would really love to see more of this kind of color, that kind of color, or more print or whatever. So that's the cool thing, is like every collection, I really take people's input into account and try to create something that all women feel good and comfortable with. And even some men are able to wear them as well. So it's very cool.
I saw some photos, of course, if you have dreadlocks and things like that, and, they definitely will be perfect for that. And I thought that was just, all I know is that when I saw it, I immediately liked it. And I felt this was a natural, comfortable look. It could be jazz. You can wear them out, to a restaurant. You can wear them, you can wear them out to depending on the look that you buy or want to feel wear, you can go out to a party with them wearing it. So I really felt comfortable with the look, and I was excited about you coming on my show to discuss it. And because as an entrepreneur, we all have great ideas. And so how, you talked about the journey about it. because it was just your idea. What made it real though? What made it like, okay, let's do this? Because a lot of people stop at the idea because they don't think nobody's going to buy it or nobody's going to even want to show them how to produce it.
Right. I mean, I was already working with another company. I was creating a line of flannels because, I'm an 80s baby. So in the 90s,
right.
I was kind of a teenager and flannels was always like a staple part of your outfit. So I was already creating a flannel line with my sister and I, where money that we were raising through the flannel line was going to our foundation.
Right.
And so I already had the relationship. And what I realized is, once I was wearing my wrap, if people just kept asking for like a year, the question never stopped and people were always interested. So I was like, all right, it's been a consistent thing. People are into it. I think they'll buy it. Let's just, give it a run and we'll see what happens. And people really took to it really well. So I was like, okay, well, let's, create even more. And so it's been really great because I know as a woman, rather you have dreads, twists, braids, big curly hair that you don't want to wash and style every day or whatever it is. Like I know for a fact that this is a product that I would use and I wish I had earlier. And that made me feel confident that somebody's going to get some great use out of this. So
congratulations again. When I look at your career, like when I was managing Steve Harvey, when we started together back in 2000, the first time I really got to see you and introduce myself to you was the movie You Got Served. And that's it's way back then. Just to talk about your body of work, because you began starring in commercial at the age of 4, and I've done over 60 national TV commercials and an untold number of films and television shows. I just only mentioned a small amount of your success. In fact, I didn't even mention any of the television series that you've starred in, very successful on. So what has helped you to make that transition from a child star to an adult star? Because that's a hard make sometimes because you're so cutesy, and when you become an adult, people don't buy the cutesy, or you don't mature correctly, or you don't have the support system. What has helped you, Meagan?
I think, the first thing was like prayer. When I was 19, I was struggling. I still looked 15, 16. And it was the first time in my life where I was like, okay, I'm seeing people around me getting work and I'm not getting work. So the first time I prayed, I was just like, all right, God, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? And here's the thing. I'm going to just put it on the altar and say, I want what you want for me more than what I think I want for myself.
Say that one more time now. This is like in church now. Say that one more time. Come on now.
I want what you want for me more than what I think I want for myself.
There you go.
And so that was the first time I had gotten confirmation that this is the business that I should be in, but that it's bigger than being able to do something that I love and I'm passionate about. It's bigger than being in an industry where people consider you a celebrity or whatever it is. It's bigger than all that. It's really about using the platform that God is giving you as an opportunity to build the kingdom and to really be used in whatever way He wants to use me. So once I got that confirmation, that gave me the confidence to know that, like, okay, so I'm going to be okay because this is bigger than me anyways. And I just kept trucking along and trying to make smart decisions. Right. And show however I could, like, okay, I'm becoming a woman now, and trying to watch that balance. Because, at that time there was all the men's magazines, and I did a bunch of them, but I made a conscious effort. Yeah, when I did it, it was like, okay, so no baby. But that's in a message that
when you did them, we're talking about like the King magazines and all those type of magazines, and but they sent a bad message or the incorrect message of what your brand or who you represented, don't you think?
No, I don't, because I think at that time that is who I was and what I represented, and my thing is, like, I've come under fire a lot about saying, like, as a Christian, I don't mind being sexy. Okay. And I own that part of myself. I love that part of myself. Okay. And what I realized, my journey has been unique to, I didn't grow up in the church, but my mother was always read your Bible, get to know God, have a relationship, not a religion with Him. And so as I pursued a relationship with God, I got saved when I was 12. I got rebaptized when I was 19 on my own. So at that time, and I was doing the King magazines, the Black Man or whatever it was, and I was 21, 22, 23. Right. My feeling was like, I'm going to own who I am and be comfortable with who I am. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into a place that some would consider dark, and I'm going to spread light. So if you look at each one of those interviews, not only did I not wear, lingerie or bathing suits or do any back shots or anything that was too suggestive that I didn't feel comfortable in my spirit about, but I also, every single interview, I talked about God. I talked about my relationship with God. I talked about being a Christian. I talked about there's a way to still be comfortable with your sexuality without overtly, doing things that are really about look at me versus I love me, I embrace me. And so for me, it was walking a line of like what feels right in my spirit, that I'm not lying to myself. I'm being honest, like whatever God places in my spirit, I'm owning that. But I'm also not conforming to what people say a Christian should be, because I know my heart and I know who I am at the core, and God knows me, and we talk. So at the end of the day, I can do religious and I can do what people think I should do and who they think I should be, or I can own who I am in every season and allow him to guide me. And so that's what I did. And so I think my journey has definitely been an interesting one, but I've always been in tune with God through all of it.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I'm glad you're saying it. That's why I'm kind of like being quiet, letting you say your conversation, because people need to hear without interruption the message you're trying to deliver. And that's important because of the fact that, we have preconceived notions of who people are, just how they look or just how they dress. Right. And that's what you're saying, Rashawn. Okay, I embrace who I am, but that doesn't mean I can't embrace my love of God or the respect that I have for him. And if you want to read something differently, but while you're looking at that photo, read the article. How about that? Read the story, open the book, okay, and go through the messages that I'm trying to tell, the consistent values I'm trying to say. And I think for young people that's important, because especially with social media today, we can get caught up in likes, and get caught up in trying to, we gotta look a certain way and pose a certain way in order to grow our fan base. And you're saying that honesty with yourself is the key to that. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, transparency. What people are going to respond to is you not trying to be anybody else but being yourself. The honest people who are going to like you, dig you, that are going to be your tribe and support you, are going to support the truest version of you. Right. So I'm comfortable with knowing that at 10 years old, I was doing off-Broadway shows with drag queens. Right. And I'm still a Christian. So the way I see the world, the way I perceive drag queens, the way I perceive a lot of things may be different than some other Christians, but I know that God allowed me to have that experience and the mindset that I have when we talk about what's appropriate or what's modest. Well, my version of modest is going to be different than yours based on my upbringing. So as long as I own that and I lean into like, God, what do you say as it pertains to me? That's the only thing I have to do. And I try to encourage other people, especially young people, to do that as well, because they think that if you don't fit into a certain box, you have to choose to do that box and having a relationship with God or not having a relationship with God.
Meagan, do you have a podcast? Because do you have a podcast?
No.
I'm gonna tell you something, girl. I'm telling you something. I like to believe I recognize talent. Okay, you got the acting down pat, but your motivational skill and your own point about what young people need to hear and old people need to hear, people in general, male and female, everybody, because your conversation is welcoming to everybody. And if you have thought about doing a podcast, start. If you haven't, start, because I feel that your message and then it needs to be heard. If you just think about it, like you said, I'm pretty sure you've heard this before. Just like the raps, people kept telling you, "Girl, I need that. Well, Rushion McDonald's come along, going, something. Excuse me, you need to be worldwide on your own platform where your message won't be interrupted and you can share and get other like-minded people who look like you or don't look like you and be able to, this is about love. Your message is about love. It is so clean when I hear you talk, Meagan. It's amazing. It's like drinking a good cold glass of water on a hot sunny day. Oh, it feels good. Oh, it feels good, don't it? Oh my God. You go, whoo, I feel good. And and I hear you talking so clean. There's no stuttering. There's no pause about no revelation. Well, let me think about it. It's just like when I said, well, do you think that was against your brand? No, it was not. You did not hesitate. Rashawn, I know who I am. And that is important when people get caught up into cyberbullying, get caught up in, should I look this way? Should I dress this way? And you're saying God defines you, believe in him, believe in yourself, and don't, as they say, veer left or right. And that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Exactly what I'm saying. Cool. I think it's important that we have a relationship with God where we hear from Him for ourselves. I want to be in a position where if someone comes up to me and they say I have a word from God, I can say, yes, I received that. My spirit agrees. Or no, you don't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel your spirit. That's for me is not from God. And to have that type of confidence, I feel like that's how in tune with God we have to be.
Awesome.
And when you're that in tune, mm-hmm. it doesn't matter that some people are not going to understand you because they're coming from a different place. You know,
I'm telling you, when you're talking out there, I'm sure you do public speaking. Oh, they passing the plate. They gotta be good. Girl! Preach!
Well, this is for free. So
this is beautiful. I want to get to the book the way I read the book. I want to ask a couple of questions. That's some favorite lines I want to run by, but I got to talk about Shazam. Okay, when you made an appearance in that, but it's one of my favorite movies. In fact, when you finally make an appearance in the other adult versions of the kids making an appearance, it's one of my favorite parts of the movie. But one of my most endearing parts is how you were able to be an adult, but you maintain that childlike quality in your acting performance. That was, I smile every time I see it and I go, wow, you know, people are talented, but certain things that you can show goes, that's an extra gear of talent that she has. Yeah. Talk about that whole, what I'm talking about. And Shazam is a very popular superhero. You know, he says Shazam's a little 15-year-old boy and he becomes this adult superhero character. Well, along the way, you know, these kids are at this foster home and you played your childlike character was one of the kids. And you eventually in the movie at the end says Shazam and you became an adult version of your childlike character, but you still had those childlike characteristics.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that. Maintaining that little, reaching inside and holding on to that little baby Meagan.
Well, baby Meagan is always in there, you know. And I think, you know, it might come as more of a shock to people just because, you know, again, like through my 20s, I was kind of like that sexy girl. So people don't realize oftentimes that there are a lot of different gears and that, you know, sometimes like for me through my 20s, that was kind of one gear where it's like, yeah, that's a side of me, you know, but there's so much more. And so the cool thing about Shazam was like, I had started my workout journey like maybe barely 2 years before that because I told Devon, I said, babe, I really want to be a superhero. Like I want to do like DC or Marvel. And he was like, that's great, honey. What are you doing to meet God halfway? And I said, what? And mind you, I had my glass of wine in my hand. I'm watching my Scandal or something. And he said, what are you doing to meet God halfway?
Right.
And I was like, wow, you're right. Faith without works is dead. Okay, got it. So I took my little self to the gym. I got a trainer. I changed my eating habits. I cut back on my wine. I started working out like 5 times a week for about a year and a half. And then I got this audition for Shazam. I didn't even know what it was.
Right.
Had no idea it was a superhero movie. I was just going in there and being a 7-year-old. And then I get the call that I got the part. And I was like, so what is it? They're like, Shazam. I was like, oh, Kazam was like Shaq back in the day. They're like, no, Shazam. And when I looked it up, I was like, wait, what? This is a DC superhero movie? And I kid you not, I bust out crying. I was like in the middle of a strip mall. I was like, thank you, Jesus. Like I was like full on crying outside of like a nutrition store and like ran and told like the lady behind the counter, I was like, I just got a DC movie. And she's like, oh, congrats. I mean, it's like, and it was crazy because it was the perfect thing for me because, you know, this type of superhero where we actually are children, that hasn't been done yet. And it's a very fresh take and it's something that I can do. I've been doing little kid voices like my whole life. And people just don't always see that side of me. So it was like the perfect superhero for me and perfect kind of blessing from God. And also a testament to like meeting God halfway and him saying, okay, here you go.
Do the work and I provide the way. And the opportunity, and you'll be ready for the opportunity. You know, I'm gonna just tell you that I've seen Shazam at least 6 times. I'm just a guy. I've seen that ending probably about 10 times because it's just so cute. And when and all the characters recognize, they go to adulthood. And when for somehow it works so perfectly for you. You got it down pat. Congratulations. I just want to just tell you
Thank
that.
you.
Just congratulate. It's believable. It's very cute. It makes me smile. Even when I'm talking to you about it right now, I'm smiling because it's just one of my favorite parts of the movie. And I can't wait to Shazam 2 because I know that character is going to be fleshed out a little bit more and we'll see it a lot earlier than the movie instead of the end of the movie. And I don't feel I'm giving away the movie. If anybody has not seen it, maybe you'll watch it now because when you get to that part of the movie, you'll be smiling just like Rashawn McDonald. I want to make a transition to you and your husband on the cover of the book, The Wait. First of all, compliments to both of you guys. Very attractive couple. Y'all look fantastic.
Thank you.
It's called The Wait, a powerful practice for finding the love of your life and the life you love. Why did you write this book with him?
It's interesting because the short version is, when Devon and I got together, I just came out of a kind of a verbally abusive relationship. And it wasn't just the other person. It was both of us. We were not good for each other. But I literally said, Lord, what am I supposed to be doing? And he told me 3 things. He said, get out of that relationship. I need you to be celibate. And Devon is your husband. And I said, Devon. I was like, wait. And I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do? And God was just like, nothing. Just work on yourself. So from that point forward, I worked on becoming celibate. I wasn't, successful immediately, but ultimately I was. And about a few months into it, about 5 months into getting that revelation, I told a friend of mine that Devon was my husband. And she said, oh, girl, she said, you know he's a preacher, right? I said, no. And I said, well, I that would have scared me away, but I know what God told me, so it's okay. And I said, she said, that he's celibate, right? And I said, well, I'm celibate too. She said, no, girl, he's for real celibate. And I was like, wait, what do you mean?
What do you mean, for real? For real? For real, for real.
Yes. So because he was preaching, he had been celibate for years. And she was like, yeah, you and your few months, girl. Yeah, whatever, but anyways. And so, when Devon and I got together, it was like, we were celibate for our year together before we got married. And it was the best experience of my life because I got to know him the way that I got to know him in like 4 months, the way it took me to get to know someone in 4 years. And that's because there was intimacy in terms of like emotion and spiritually, but there was no physical intimacy in that way. So really all I had to do was decide, do I like you as a human being? Do I enjoy being with you? Do I want to spend a lifetime with you? Are you about the same things in life? Are we going to the same place? Do we complement each other in their purpose? So all that stuff was so clear because there was no distractions that the reason we ended up writing the book is because people kept asking us about it. And I, would tell them the story, whatever. And they were like, we really would love to have a book about this. So me and Devon were like, I guess we'll write a book, not to be preachy, not to tell people what to do, but to tell them what our experience was and just to be transparent about that. And if it helps someone and blesses someone, great, And
I believe it's helping a lot of people. There's 2 things I want to bring out about the book. The Wait is not about sex, but it begins with sex. It's a book about relationships. And one of my favorite lines in the book is this. The wait you stop, here it is. Okay. In your book, The Wait, you stop picking and choosing which parts of the Bible you will follow. I read that and I just bust out laughing because not only does that line apply to me, but so many people, we'll do this. It's too much work to do everything. So I'm gonna follow this over here. But as you say, you can't part-time follow God. Yeah. That's what you're saying, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing is I think we do tend to pick and choose, and especially as it pertains to sex, because we feel like, well, Lord, you have to understand this part. You gave us desires. You know we want to do it. All the Christians and the saints is doing it now. Come on. And you make excuses. Just like when I first lost my virginity, I said, I'll wait till I'm going to get married. I lost my virginity at 19 and it was later than most of my friends, but it was also like, I was like, well, this is my first love. I'm going to marry him. So, it's my husband anyways. And of course it wasn't. But I realized, I lived my life like there'd be times where I felt bad and I would like repent and I would not have sex for months. And then, and I realized that I was really picking and choosing and giving myself license instead of saying, let me just try to do the hardest thing that there is to do in terms of the commandments. And let's see how that goes. And what I realized is once I conquered that and I found that discipline within myself, for delayed gratification and to not pick and choose, it gave me the freedom and the power to have more self-control over so many areas. I hated working out. And, it was never going to happen. Mm-hmm. And because of the discipline I learned from the weight is why I was able to work out, which ultimately resulted in Shazam and ultimately resulted in me about to be 39. I'm in the best shape of my life because my lifestyle changed, because my discipline changed because of the weight. So it's not just relationships. It's across the board. It changed my life, my career.
Because you guys got married in 2012, correct? What?
We got, yep.
2012. And I have to say, like I said, I'm a fan of yours. I'd have to say that period between 2012 and now, I'd have to say it's been the best part of your career. I don't want to sound insulting. I'm talking about the movies, the films, the projects, your brand, your ability, your look. You glow. When you're with your husband, you glow. And that comes back to discipline and an honesty with yourself. And that is one of the takeaways that I had with the book, The Weight. And if you don't mind, it's because it's on my shelf at my home. Like I said, I gave it to my daughter. She read it, and I have a home in Houston and Atlanta. I keep it in my Atlanta home. Is it still available to be bought, the book?
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool.
You can get it at Amazon. I mean, just about anywhere. Barnes Noble.
Okay, cool. Okay,
pretty much anywhere. Yeah.
So if you feel a little surge in book sales, because Rushion McDonald's going to do this. I have a 90,000 fan club email newsletter I send out every Friday at 9 a.m. I'm going to put this book in my newsletter. Okay. And because I feel that there's so many inconsistencies I have had in my life. And one of the things in doing money making conversations has allowed me to, I made a lot of people famous. I made a lot of corporations money in my life. But what I've done is found Rushion McDonald. And I just talking to you doing this interview is just so fulfilling to me, because of the fact that you got it, Meagan. You clearly are comfortable with yourself. You clearly are happy with yourself, and you're a beautiful person. That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. Wow, that blessed me. Thank you for that.
I have to be honest, because of the fact that, and I try to do this show and expose people. When I drop the whole idea of money making conversations, we may talk about your career, we may talk about these when the people come on the show, but I always want to pull back the curtain so people can just talk. And I don't play no music. I have no ambush questions. I just want them to just really talk. And this is going to be well received in my platform, this interview. And you're just special. I just want you to keep winning. And I'd like to get your husband, Devon, on the show to talk about it. I have something I call a power couples. I bring power couples on my show together so they can talk. And that's a very popular series I have with Money Making Conversations. But more importantly, you made me happy. We're going to do Shazam 2. You're coming back in that. You're staying in shape, so you're going to be ready for that. The Girl Raps, we sold out in certain things right now, but we're going to get that up and running, because guess what? I'm going to put that in my newsletter. That means sold out's a good thing. Sold out's a good thing. You have the good foundation that you started with your sister. That's doing great things. And the weight is a blessing that I want to put out there in my platform to the world. 88% of my followers are female, and they need to hear the word. And the word is being delivered by you and your husband. And it's a written word. And guess what? The Bible's a written word. Not saying it's the Bible, but the reflections the reflections of what you're talking about are guided from the words. And that's important that people need to read and also share. And I want to thank you for calling my show, Meagan.
Yeah, I want to thank you for even thinking to have me and wanting to have me. And thank you for affirming me as well and pouring into me as well, because it seems like a small thing to say the things that you said, but it's not. And I really appreciate it, and I really receive it. And I thank you for having me.
Well, my hands are put together. I'm bowing forward in a blessed state, in a prayer-like state, because we will talk again in the future. Be safe during these pandemic times. Tell your husband hi. And anytime you want to promote, I might have them reach out, and if they can get some artwork or something like that, I just want to put anything tacky out there, especially about your raps and all this stuff. We were staying close with my staff to make sure that anytime you release anything, any movie, any sitcom, anything you do in television or as an entrepreneur or with your foundation, bring it to me so I can promote it. It's not about, I don't charge any money with my social media. I just want to spread love and let everybody know that you can win, and you win it through relationships. And that's what you're preaching, young lady. Keep on preaching.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Amen.
Thank you. Girl, we passed the plate, girl. We've been preaching on this show of Money Making Conversation. Girl, be safe out there. Okay, we talk soon, all right?
Yes, we will. Thank you.
All righty. If you want to hear more episodes of Money Making Conversations, go to moneymakingconversations.com. I'm Rushion McDonald. I'm your host.